morning. We record this in the evening, though. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Three Good Guys Podcast.
It is.
My name is Miles. This is...
Oh, this is...
Mr. Q.
This is Rodney Jr.
Okay.
Leonard Brown.
All right. And so we are here to be your entertainment, your education, your good time, to get through your morning, your day, your work most likely. And we hope to be an inspiration some way, somehow. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a good conversation. Today's conversation is not about relationships, which we hit on twice already in different aspects. But the last one was funny, especially when he said he don't believe in platonic relationships. Y'all got to go find that clip.
I stand by that.
Got to go find that clip. But today's conversation, we're actually talking about careers. We're talking about jobs, being black men working and getting after it and things of that nature. So we're going to hop in with a few things. The very first thing I want to ask you, gentlemen, though, is what was your very first job? We'll start on this end since you are the elder statesman. What was your first job?
My first job was Kohl's, and I was making $7.25 an hour.
I have a story about that. Go ahead. What was your first job?
My first job, I believe, was Target. I was making just about the
Retail.
same. Actually, I think I was making 10.
Oh,
Okay, well,
oh, he was balling.
Okay,
Hey, he was doing big things. Okay, I see you.
Target was coming out of the pocket a little
Target
bit.
is a little. It wasn't Walmart. Target. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. He said his first job was Kohl's. That's funny because you started working at Kohl's when I was working at Steak and Shake.
Across the street.
Literally, we worked across the street from
Yeah.
each other. But my first job was not Steak and Shake. My first job was 2 years before that, actually, something like that. Maybe a little more. When I worked at Finish Line, the summer of my junior year going to my senior year, worked at Finish Line for a whopping $7.25 an hour. But I got like 40% off of all sneakers there.
That's a plus.
You know what I'm saying? It made it all worth it. But how did y'all enjoy working your very first job? Like, and what did that feel like for you?
Oh, no, I hated it. No, there was no joy. Working at Kohl's, absolutely not. I met some cool people, still friends with some of them today. But no, that I much prefer the level of work that I do now. And it's crazy because you make more money doing less work, in my opinion. Because when I worked at Kohl's, I did everything. So yeah, that's me.
You know, it was good at times, but for the most part, I didn't really like it. You know, I was working in the grocery section, and you know, had to go in the freezers and like front all the stuff, and you know, then they didn't have any good gloves for you, so your hands is cold, and you know, dying. But it was some fun times. You know, there was some pretty charismatic people I worked with. I had a good time. I don't think I'm still close with anybody that I used to work there with there, but it was a good time. Shout out to everybody at Target over in Fort Worth.
Man, listen, my first job, I enjoyed it. I think I was just happy to not be at home, and I loved getting the paycheck. So I loved the first job. The second and the third job, I liked it a little bit more. So my second job was Steak and Shake. Like I said, I was working literally across the street from him. Then my third job, I went from Steak and Shake, being the server there, and team lead, you know what I'm saying, because I was going up the ranks. You feel me?
Okay.
They wanted to make me a manager, but I wasn't doing that working overnight or the real bull crap. And I absolutely hated making what's some things called the ice cream milkshakes. Hated that for the same reason, like being in the freezer, hands was cold, couldn't stand it. I went from there to Saltgrass Steakhouse, and I was a server there. And the thing I liked about those two jobs was when you're waiting tables, you get paid cash every day. So
you got paid every day.
See, I couldn't do the waiting tables thing. That was just not for me because I wholeheartedly. Hold on, I've had a whole conversation with some family members about that. Got into a long
we about to get into it.
Okay, but I do have a little bit of a problem with the service industry. Is in regards to like
tipping.
Yes.
Oh, I'm with you.
So let's talk about that really briefly. So my wife worked in the service industry for a good while, and you know she would come home and tell me stories about her, you know how, oh man, you know this table, I did all the stuff for them. They didn't leave a tip. Like, why do you even come to the restaurant if you're not gonna leave a tip and everything? And I'm just like, I get it. Like me personally, for the record.
I always you know they say black people don't tip, so we gotta
I always
tip.
Exactly, we gotta tip.
We gotta tip more.
Okay? I always tip properly, especially because my wife will not let me leave it down if I don't. But she don't even have to tell me. I'll tip even when sometimes she's like, "You don't need to leave a tip on this thing." I always leave tips. But the principle behind leaving a tip is like it's a moral thing. Like, okay, I feel like I know what these people are getting paid here. Like these tips really help go towards making sure they have what they need. So I don't have a problem. But the policy is a policy, and that's if somebody does not leave a tip, they're not obligated to leave a tip. That's in my opinion. If they don't want to leave a tip, even if you gave them 100% great service across the board, they don't have to leave a tip. And I was kind of telling her, I was like, hey, you should always treat every table as they're going to leave you a $100 tip no matter what, because the odds are you're going to get the best out of that situation. Even if they don't leave a tip, the next one might. But if you assume, and you might lose out on something. So why not, just not lose out on anything.
That's
be consistent. But it's tough. See, I understand. And I haven't worked it myself, so I guess
I haven't worked it either. Miles worked it. My issue with tipping is I look at it from a business perspective, because they always say like, oh, the company, the margins are too low. As a business owner myself, I can't employ people and then tell them, I'm not going to cover your salary. Go make somebody else cover your salary. So I really think what we do is we let millionaires and billionaires get away with not paying their employees by installing a tipping system. And I just don't think that's right. Because like I said, as a business owner, I got plenty of stuff. Like for the credit repair, I would love for somebody else to come in and write the letters so I don't have to do it. But I can't afford to pay nobody else to do it. And I can't be like, all right, you're going to write these letters and then you tell them to send you a tip to cover it. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it gets people off. And then think about it. All these company owners, these restaurant owners and stuff, they millionaires. Like the owners of Saltgrass and all that stuff, they're millionaires, multi-millionaires. So they can afford to pay somebody.
No, they can definitely afford to pay it. And in some places, I think in California, they changed the wage for service workers. I think they did, because for those of you who don't know, out here in Texas, last time I checked and last time I was employed there, the wage to be a server was $2.13 an hour. So when people say that like they're working for tips, they're not playing, because no one's living off of $2.13 an hour. No, at all, right? So those tips really mean everything, because your tips is the difference between can I afford to even drive to work today because I don't got gas. $2.13 an hour, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, $16 is what they're gonna pay me. I can't put $20 in my gas tank off of my wage.
Now I'm gonna sound like a jerk when I say this.
Uh-oh.
But in Texas, I know for a fact, if you do not make up to minimum wage in tips, the company will pay you minimum wage. So in other words, it's a minimum wage job. Exactly. I worked a minimum wage job. I just told y'all, Cole, $7.25 an hour, and it was the hardest job second hardest job I ever had. So you're still gonna make minimum wage.
And then too, I think we're not touching on the fact of the matter that the flip side of like you working at a place where they give you tons in tips, and where they're bringing home more money than a lot of these people. Like they're getting broke off.
I ain't gonna lie. That's why I went to Saltgrass Steakhouse. Okay, because I went from a place where you get meals for $4 to a place where you got $40-something steaks. Right, so clearly the tips changed drastically. Yeah, because a lot of people, they tip a percentage of what they order. So let's just call it 10% to keep it simple. If you spend $10 at Steak and Shake,
you get $1.
I'm getting $1 tip. But at Sawgrass, y'all could spend $100
easy.
Yeah. Especially with drinks, toppings. You want to add that. You want to add some shrimp.
And don't get a dessert.
Dessert. You want to get a bottle of wine to. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, that 10% went from $1 to $10 to $20. Don't let a group of people come in and they done spent thousands, and that tip went from $10 to $100, $200. Like, it's a massive difference.
Yeah, it can. But that's the thing. I don't really like the unpredictability about the job. I can step in one day, have an amazing day. Yeah. Of course, let's be honest. Somebody leaves you a big tip at the beginning of the day, like you're
done for
you're done. I'm going home early.
Like you're excited, and so I think transitioning, from the service industry, like whenever you were there, I'll ask you, like, did you feel like, okay, this is did you ever see yourself making a career out of that.
I couldn't do it. So here's the thing: when I joked earlier about like moving up at Sawgrass Steakhouse, but they really did want to put me on a management track. So like eventually, like the GM that was where when I was there, he ended up being like the GM of that area. I knew the lady who was like the GM over like Texas or something like that, right? These are the people that liked me. She liked me. Her boss liked me. So like, all I had to do was do a decent job. They were pushing me along because they liked me as a person. Just a key. You wonder what something we could tell people to help them in business or as employees? Get to know the people ahead of you, okay? When the people that can afford to pay you like you, that's what they'll do. If they can put the people they like in position, that's who'll get the position. So if you want to move up and make more money, get to know your boss, get to know your boss's boss.
Yeah. Whenever we get into that, because that literally changed my life. So
yeah,
like my life has literally changed.
Yeah, but back to what you asked, because I see myself moving up. I literally couldn't see. So like at Sawgrass, 24 hours and employees didn't respect the place. That they literally employ kids, and kids would come in if they felt like it, or if not, I'm gonna go to this party tonight and just call off work, and probably not firing them unless they're just egregious when they're there. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm not about to be the only person in this kitchen making all these orders at 2:00 in the morning when all these folks leave the club and whatnot, and they want to come get some. I'm not doing that. I'm not cooking everything. I don't like cooking in general to begin with, so that's bad. I'm definitely not going to be on the milkshakes because I don't want to do that. My hands get cold and I can't stand that. And then I don't want to deal with these folks is crazy. Okay? If you work in hospitality or something, you know that people are crazy. I seen somebody.
I got horror stories from calls.
Listen, I seen somebody get arrested because they hit a cop all over their burgers and milkshakes.
No, it ain't that.
It's never
that serious.
But that's what happened.
That's the thing. Like I'm wholehearted when it comes to just a short variance. But they're like, I'm all for like banning certain people that I go out to eat with if they're just like rude to certain. Like, absolutely, I will not go to you. Like, if you just happen to see, like, they'll text me like, hey, you want to meet us up here? I got something to do. It's not a good time right now because like I cannot stand that. Respect to those people in that career path, but I feel you. I understand what you're saying in regards to like, this, all the effort that goes into jobs like that in the food industry is like, it's tough to deal with on a consistent basis. It's hard, and unless it's like a well-oiled machine where you have a group of good like workers around you, that makes the difference when it comes to career.
It makes all the difference.
Just even the people that you work with, and so kind of going back into what we're talking about as far as getting to know great Jim there. Get to know who's ahead of you, even their boss and boss's boss. So tell me a little bit about that. Actually, let's go Leonard. Like, tell me about how that kind of changed for you, or how that
career. It was my first big boy job, so to speak. It's really funny. It was insurance sales. Miles was already working there, and he was like, "Hey, they give you $1,000 bonus if you just come and do the training." And I was like, I don't do phone call jobs. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, but $1,000? I said, I can do it. And at this time, like, I worked like warehouses. That was pretty much it. So I was like, let me just go over here and get this $1,000 because I have my insurance license. And I go, and I actually do pretty good. And so I ended up sticking around and staying there. And then I had a boss. Actually, it wasn't really my boss, but just a manager there who really took a liking to me, and then she eventually did become my manager, and I just like went out of my way to not like kiss her butt or anything, but I just understood like this person could have a powerful impact on my life. And the company we was working at was a small company. It wasn't no major company or anything, but as a result of like, I answered her phone calls like after work, you know what I'm saying? I did stuff like one year, worked on my birthday when I was out of town, because she needed somebody to do something like, but she was always looking out for me as well. And as a result, one day she called me and she was like, hey, there's a job opening for one of the top 3 financial institutions in America. I'll just say it that way. And she was like, I think it'd be great. This person is actually hiring. I know this person. She was like, go apply for it. So if you ever had your boss tell you to go apply somewhere else, and she, set it up, she put in a good word for me, told me what to do, rehearsed my application with me, and getting that job has changed my life. I would not have been able to afford the house, the wedding, the wife, the kid, all that stuff without that job. So, yeah, when you find somebody that can have an impact on your life, take a liking to them, like cling to them. You can change everything.
Everything. This guy was a bum before that.
Wasn't no bum, man. But it's been life changing. Like going from just just little warehouse jobs to where I am now, which, like I said, I work for one of the top financial institutions in a management position. Literally life change. Literally life change.
Everything changes when you get to know the right people.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to career development, I think making connections, whether it be people under you, people over you, is super important. So I work also in the financial institution, at a financial institution, the top 5 financial institution in the U.S. Currently, as of newly top 5,
top 3.
Yeah. but working in it for as long as I have now, I get to know a lot of people, and I take pride in getting to know everybody that I work with, spending time talking with them, because you never know what kind of opportunities come up. And then too, it's just about being a good person to anyone that you're around, and setting forth that example, setting forth that standard, setting forth that baseline of respect, to come and speak, So I have a close friend of mine, my wife, who, sometimes she's sometimes a little shy, and she's, super welcoming person, but for like people who she doesn't really know too well, she sometimes maybe have some difficulty like just speaking or getting out or being a little bit more engaging. Mm-hmm. And so I work with her on that and just kind of tell her how that can be. And some people just aren't that way, and that's okay. I would just try to say, always maintain somewhat of an approachable attitude, or coming in to work with the right mentality at least, because that can change your trajectory just by that alone.
Yeah.
But, said all of that to say, I take pride in every day that I've went into work here. I can say I know pretty much majority of the people in my region personally. I know a lot of my bosses, HR leaders, people who've known me for years, and they know my name. So they entrust me with like training people. Multiple people come under my tutelage for my job, and, shadow me throughout the weeks or whatever they may have me do. And, that's been pushing my trajectory. Now, of course, in regards to careers, and this is kind of more personal to me, but I want to hear you guys' feedback on that too as well, is so with that, I feel like I'm in a position where, things are progressing for me, but I do kind of feel like the time is kind of ticking. I'm like, okay, I've been here for a little bit, when do you, and this may not have to be directed towards me, but when would you tell someone like, hey, maybe it's time to start looking outside, even when you're at like a career-driven job? Like, when do you say like, maybe this is a time we can start looking into another direction or another institution? What would you say?
I mean, I can go if you know what I'm saying.
This is rock, paper, scissors. Who goes first?
Okay, rock, paper, scissors.
You go
okay,
first.
Before I do that though, you said something that I really want to emphasize is like, just be a likable person at work. Because I wasn't the most qualified. I remember somebody else who, like, when it comes to sales, they were way better than me and all that stuff. So to get the promotion, I wasn't the most qualified for my promotion, but I was a likable person. Mm-hmm. So just being likable will help your career so much. So you can just take that with you. Sorry, what was the question? Oh, when do you know stuff? So, my grandfather, when it comes to like business and jobs and career, he had a very successful career, and I definitely look up to him. And I was telling him, like, I've been in the same level for the last 4 years at my job, and I'm ready for a vertical move, right? Mm-hmm. And he told me, he said he would put his resume out every 6 months. Mm-hmm. That never even crossed my mind. And so I'm like, every 6 months? He said he put his out every 6 months. And so if I follow him, like, I loved his, like, just seeing from outside, seeing the growth of his career. Mm-hmm. And so you say, like, when is it time? Number one, if you're tired or whatever you're doing, it's definitely time, right? Because it sucks to go to work and not want to be there, right?
True.
So if you're tired of it, it's definitely time. But even if things are going good, you never know what you are blocking yourself from getting by just not reaching out for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, every 6 months I think is at least put a filler out there. You know, he stayed with the same company for years, but at least he knew what was available to him, and I think that's a great way to follow, great model to follow.
Yeah. And he stayed with the same company for years because that company was good to him. Like, he went from literally a janitor to running 4 different, is it 4? I think it was 4
hospitals.
Different hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing came to those hospitals without him knowing about it. Wow. Like, he was a very integral part in making, he literally helped save people's lives, right? Mm-hmm. Just from having the business end of thing taken care of. Mm-hmm. But he grew from the janitor. So first and foremost, I don't really care where you start. You can end up in the office with the secretary and the people underneath. Like, you can start from anywhere because he started from a janitor and he didn't have the education necessary. He gained all else necessary as he grew. But I think you should be reaching for more every time you feel you need more. Mm-hmm. Like, when's the time to reach for more? When do you need it? Like, at that point, all right, it's time to start figuring out something new. I got to apply somewhere else, so I got to start something new, which I'm going to ask you about in a second. Mm-hmm. Do I have to tell management, hey, it's time to figure something out? Our sister, actually, she was done with her role. She said, if y'all don't give me something new, I'm leaving. And management was like, are you serious? Like, yes. If you don't give me something, I'm sick of this, I'm leaving. She had a new job in like a week and a half. Because she's likable, she's doing her job well, and she made it clear, like, hey, I'm not going to do nothing crazy, y'all, but I can't stay here. If you ever at the point where it's like, I can't stay here, you got to get up and go. Because staying, just, that'll take a toll on your mental that nobody wants to deal with whatsoever. But I do have a question. What'd you say your first big boy job was?
Dialogue.
Okay.
Answering phones, selling insurance.
What was your first big boy job?
It wasn't banking first. It was my first. It's pretty big. I've been in that same industry for the past almost 10 years.
Yeah, it's committed.
Different places, but like almost 10 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What'd you get paid when you first started?
When I first started in banking, man, what was it? I want to say like $11.50. Of course, there was like incentives as well that you got from, you know, specific sales and, you know, and such, but that was the first one. Then I went from there to another, to a credit union, which was a little bit more, which ironically enough, my wife and myself got hired at the same place at the same time. Before we were married, of course.
Goodness, God was trying to speak
to
he
was trying to set y'all up. You know what I'm saying?
You were just missing the boat. Like, brother, I brought her to you.
But, yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, my first job, like Linda mentioned earlier, was at the same location, Dialogue Direct. Insurance, $17 an hour. Now, granted, I went from $10 to $17 an hour. That was a big jump for you, boy. I ain't gonna lie. 17 at the time, I felt like I could buy anything in the world. Like, what you want, I got you.
That's right. Because what you went from Allstate.
Yeah. We
were both working out. We worked at the same place multiple times. Yeah, we were both working at Allstate for like 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
that job was trash too. You
ever worked in a warehouse? Never,
bruh. Let me tell you about this job at Allstate. So
yeah, it's at Allstate, but we don't do no insurance.
Yeah, we do no insurance.
You're in the Allstate warehouse.
Yeah. So Allstate, these massive insurance companies have millions of records for every single thing that happened, every single person. They have an actual paper, well, at least they had an actual paper trail, right? So a company as massive as Allstate has clients throughout all 50 states, and all that paper trail comes from one massive warehouse, 4 stories high, within 2 separate buildings that was connected. Our job was to go and find these boxes of records and pull these boxes of records. Now, granted,
so they can be shredded.
Yeah, so they can be shredded because after a while, like, okay, we don't need to keep this anymore. But the boxes are like stacked on top of each other, and then like stacked
super deep.
Mm-hmm. So I might have to remove this whole 4 boxes here for 3 different layers. So I'm a 4, 8, 12 boxes to get this one. Then I got to put those 12 boxes back
in order. And
then I got to go and get the last, 50 boxes off this list. Yo, so it's a ton of lifting. And some of these boxes are heavy too. And some of them are stuck and you got to just, it was a lot.
Backbreaking work. Well,
yeah.
That's what I say. Like
ain't no AC, no heat. So if it's cold, you cold. And if it's hot, you sweating your butt off. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That job was trash.
It was. But we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We would download movies and we just watching movies while you working. And
it was a good time. I'm not gonna lie.
But like I said, the harder you work, the less money you make, man. Because like right now, my job, I work hard. If my boss ever sees this, you know what I'm saying. But like in comparison to that, like I don't break my back. You know, I come in and I teach people how to do their job.
Yeah, I just think it's just different. There's different levels to it. Like I would say, like I see a lot of clients that do backbreaking work, like roofers. Like, come on, like who wants to be a roofer in Texas? That's crazy.
It get hot out here, boy.
But you know, from there, and then you know they'll tease me, be like, man, you got the easiest job in the world. You just sit in the AC here, you know.
That is what they feel like.
I'm just like, yeah, it definitely is, but. You know, sometimes I enjoy the simplicity of like, there's a problem, you fix it, and that's the job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That to me sometimes is a lot less mentally draining than like, okay, I gotta hit these goals, I gotta hit these numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
And I gotta, you know, cold call people. I gotta, you know, people gotta sit down with me. I gotta uncover things and you know, and mind you, you know, doing it for so long, you get good at it, you get confident more so, and you know, especially if you know the products and you know how it works. But that doesn't guarantee you a yes. So it's different sometimes than like you go in, you got a roof that you got to get fixed, you fix the roof. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just in steps. But when it comes to, like, for instance, I'll use an example. Of course, I won't say any names, but I had a customer who I was trying to get in on an investment opportunity, and you know, this person constantly was telling me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be there, you know, got the appointment set. I'm like, great, got you lined up, boom, you know. And even when they first initially came to me, it was such an easy conversation because they were just really ready to, you know, build onto something, onto their 401k. I was like, okay, bet, that's good, let's do it. And so trying to get her in contact with my advisor. He's like, yeah, let's get her on board. And first time comes, she doesn't show. Call her. I'm like, okay, hey, what's going on? How you doing? You know, what's going on? She's like, oh, that's okay. We can reschedule for this day. Cool. Doesn't show again. Call her the next time. She does a phone appointment with her. I'm like, okay, great. She's talking to him. She's like, oh, I gotta go. I'm like, okay. Does she want to do it? I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna try to stay consistent. I told her I'm gonna call her again, try to do follow-ups, everything. Finally, just last week, after like 7 months.
Goodness.
Like,
that's persistent.
Finally got her in, everything. And so, you know, now mind you, you know, I'm happy about it. I'm like, okay, great, good, you know, awesome. But then again, I'm like, man,
7 months.
You know, 7 months to get, and you know, so part of me, there is an excitement there, of course, to like actually help people and aid people in my career, which I want to actually ask a question about that more so because I do feel like what makes me cut the difference of being like, okay, maybe I'm a little bit frustrated at times, but like, I feel like I'm doing something actually helping someone in my community or helping, you know, my people in my community to just be more financially, you know, prepared or educated on certain things or to help them build towards something like and actually being a resource for them because a lot of times it surprises me how much little people do know when it comes to your line of work or to your career, like, and how you can actually truly like help somebody and help actually change their lives. And so that's what keeps me in some degree. Or gets me like, okay, yeah, this was tough to finally get through, but you know, I made it happen. Everything, you know, and I was able to help somebody at the end of the day. So, you know, when it does get tough, what do you guys look towards, like career wise, like that kind of helps you reassure those things? I know it's a little bit different.
You know the truth.
With what you guys do.
The truth. What I look forward when my job is tough, I look forward to my entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That's what I look for.
That's what I'm trying to get into this.
So like my job does not excite me. It does. I don't feel. Now I do actually help people. People get paid as a direct result of what I do. Like literally, whether or not you have money could be based on how I'm feeling that day. You might wait a day. You might wait a week.
Big boss man.
He's like, look, it goes through me. Like, if you're gonna be able to pay your bills this week,
like,
it has to do with my mental state of mind. Okay?
Just being honest. Like every day, what I do, there's a direct correlation between my work and someone getting a check.
Gotcha.
Directly, and oftentimes I write the check. So I understand what I do is important, but that doesn't fulfill me. Now, what I do as an entrepreneur, that brings fulfillment. So when my job is annoying me, I'm like, what do I have to say today? Who do I have to contact? I'm gonna send these emails out. Let me post something on social media. Let me go back to whatever clients I have right now, see what they need. Like, let me prepare for this next meeting I got coming up. That stuff excites me. That stuff keeps me happy, keeps me motivated. I love seeing that I actually generated income. Like I had a lady today, I'm gonna go back to something that we mentioned earlier. A lady today just asked me like, hey, for your masterclass, what does that cost? Like, I just need to know, because I need what you have. Like, her message was very, very simple, very clear. I need what you have. Dope. So that's what I look forward to. My job, there's nothing about my job that, other than the fact that I'm using that to push everything else that I'm doing. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. But other than the fact that I use my job to push me in everything else I'm doing, there's nothing that excites me about it.
Yeah, same here. Like, my job, I can't even say it's really helping people. I mean, it's more of a convenience thing. So I don't have that like, oh, we're saving lives, changing lives. But when the job gets hard, to me, it's just about, like Miles said, I focus on building my. Miles, hold on, let me. But you're talking, you're throwing off my train of. I mean, you're moving, and you're throwing off my train of thought. What was I saying? Like Miles said, I focus on my entrepreneur, which for me would be like I do credit repair, and that is something where I do feel like I'm helping people.
That's awesome. Because
I honestly see like. I've seen people come to me like, hey, I want to buy a house. We work with them. We, give them some advice, et cetera, and then 6 months later, they're like, yo, we're getting ready to close in 90 days. Like, I've seen that multiple times. So that's something. But I heard this happen when someone was like, what's your dream job? And somebody responded with, I never dream of labor. And I take that full-heartedly. So there's nothing about my job that I, could be like, oh, this is going to keep me here. But the only thing I like about my job is the fact that I'm in management. It does like give me a sense of accomplishment or pride, something like that. But that's about it. They can have everything but the check.
That's exactly how I feel. You can keep everything about this job
but the check. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely agree.
But go ahead. I don't
Oh man, no. I would just say, even to add on to what you're saying in regards to, not really. So although I do see the residuals of me actually helping somebody get to stages like even to a home purchase and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it is a lot about like my own personal fulfillment too as well. Like, I always take pride in helping someone regardless of what it is. But, when you more so get into passions and career, then when that lines up, then it's just like, that's amazing. That's the part where I want to get to. So of course I write music. Also, I used to do a lot of work. I used to like, to do films or like, edit and stuff like that. But more so music has kind of been more of my passion, like full force, as of late. And, being able to turn that opportunity into something that monetarily can, take care of my household would be the best case scenario for me. That alongside even any other side businesses or things ideas I may have, I definitely will say I'm like a person that's like, I like to have my hands on a couple different things. But that more specifically is like, man, if I can turn the table over to this, like I can leave corporate world behind. I'm cool with that. But if the Lord says, hey, I need you here, and and an opportunity comes, I'm like, okay, God, I'll stay here, but like, I need the right opportunity. I need the check.
Yeah,
to clear for the right amount. Exactly. But no, I feel you. Having freedom, or having not having to do the laborious things. I know that comes from time invested into where we're at right now, and then setting that career path up, setting yourself up to be smart with your finances, to be a good steward of what you have currently, with the opportunities you have now, so that we can get to the stage where we're like, hey, we can sit down and just point our fingers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, go do that. Or like,
yes.
Oh man, I appreciate, checks that I don't expect that come in.
Yeah.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
like, okay, that would be nice to live on that type of.
I do want to give Miles his kudos though, because like I remember when Miles started saying he was going to become a motivational speaker. There's nobody that was like, oh, that's a great career path. You know what I'm saying? And like, so he followed his passion, and now like you see him all the time. He's on an airplane. Like he was in California the other day. He spoke in Georgia. He went to Ohio.
I was in Ohio.
He was in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important that you follow your passion even when nobody else is.
Exactly.
It's with you. So I really want to give you a kudos.
Definitely, man.
I appreciate it.
I ain't gonna say I wasn't.
You didn't believe in it.
I ain't gonna say that.
You know what?
I just didn't see it.
Look, you'll be both. I'll say this. Whenever me and Moss had a conversation months and months back, before we got back into actually ideas of getting this started, and he was telling me about the opportunities that the speaking. I'm like, I'm listening to him. I'm like, oh, for real? Oh, so they doing this?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like I'm seeing it now, and then seeing where where he's taking it so far. I mean,
you had to build it though.
Yeah. But no,
it's still building. One random thing that I love about speaking is you can actually make money while you're becoming the guy, right? Mm-hmm. So like, and when you're at the ground floor, you can actually start generating income. So that's an amazing thing. But first of all, I appreciate y'all. Thank you, truly thank you. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and being a speaker, the work isn't on the stage, right? Now you have to be good on the stage, and that is one thing I do teach. So slide into my DMs, Miles Brown Online, something like that. GoodSpeakersAcademy.com. Anyways,
shameless plug.
Anyways, so you do have to be good on stage, because if you're not, then nobody wants you. Yeah. But the actual work is way before you get to the stage. The work is, how do I tell somebody that I'm worthy of thousands of dollars to say the things I'm about to say, and let them know that after I say this, your group, your people, yourself are going to be changed in a way that will produce positive outcome, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the work, and that work is hard, because that work doesn't matter how good you are on stage for that work.
That's dope what you said, because when I'm hearing that, I hear how that applies to almost every major job.
Everything.
Yeah. Like, it's always presenting yourself in a way that, people can receive clearly and stuff. So just me being the type of person I am, I'm a quick thinker, and I'm an overthinker at the same time. So sometimes my words will get ahead of my thoughts. And so being in the line of work that I'm in, it constantly trains me on, like, okay, assess the situation, respond. It's okay that there's open space. Like, if there's silence, waiting for somebody to respond and everything, because you got to present that, and you got to make people feel confident behind what you're saying as well, by showing confidence. So it's huge that you said that. Like, I think everybody to some degree should go through a course or some type of session similar to what Miles produces, because it's gonna do wonders for you wherever you go career wise. Because that's what we do every day.
So Miles, as someone who has followed their passion, what can you tell people about following their passions? And I have to ask you, I'm not qualified to. My passion is making money. Like that's my passion.
You know what?
Like I'm not passionate about this or that. My passion is about making the money, right? And I found multiple ways to get.
Wait a minute, hold on. Before we get into that, I remember LB the Great used to be on the track. You know,
hey, that's a fact.
Listen. Our studio audience here. You know, I don't know if she's heard every song. You know,
I don't know. She's heard like one or two, maybe.
Listen, we might have to pull that up one day and just let those play.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Classics.
Yeah. Those are classics. So, but I mean, I think at that time, and I'll be honest, and even my sister, I was looking up to you at that time. Like, man, you know, he's really putting like poetically and things of that nature, and then also, you know, when you guys did the dance as a family and stuff like that. So, oh, that's cool. Like, you guys are really, really into it. So, I did kind of feel a sense of passion there. Like, would you speak to that? How you think that was just a season?
Well, dance was never a passion. That was you got to do this to get a whooping. So,
yeah. Okay.
So that was one of those. Mm-hmm. I would say I had a passion for music, but it was never to be this great artist. Mm-hmm. It was just to make music.
Yeah,
like I still like making music to this day, but I have no passion to like be on stage because that comes with work.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that. Even though I would say I'm pushing towards that passion as far as writing. Like, I don't want to be the artist. I just want to be the guy.
Yeah, that's work. Exactly, that's work. Yeah,
exactly. Like the fun part for me is creating. It's not really the performance for me. That's like super fun.
We talked about this today because Miles plays the drum in church and Elijah plays the piano, and they were talking about how like they make music. And I was like, yeah, like you start with silence and you end up with music. And I love that process. So I have a passion for that, to start with silence and end up with music. Big passion for that, but I don't care if anyone ever hears it. Like, I like making music because I like making music.
Yeah. So I think that's where it starts. I think it just depends on how much you're engrafted it is in you. Like, I feel like I'm making up something, singing something constantly. Like, I annoyingly don't stop. My wife's like, okay, can you be quiet? Like, that kind of stuff. And so even since I was a kid, you know, I was writing. Like, I wrote stories. I would tell stories. Like, you know, my mom she can tell you a billion stories about stuff I would make up. So that kind of fell in line with my passion. So writing on a scale, and I think more so what I'm expanding to it now is more so like back into the storytelling type things, because I've really been on that page a lot. But that's what I do with my music anyways. It's more like I want to tell a story with it. But back to you in regards to passion. I know you're asking the question in regards to that. I don't know if you remember
follow your passion, or even helping people find their passion.
Mm-hmm. Well, finding your passion is a lot harder for me to speak about than following it. I think finding your passion, generally, that'll come along with something that you're doing and that you're already gravitating to. Mm-hmm. So, like you mentioned us dancing and stuff. Like, so I've been on stages since we moved to San Bernardino.
As long as you can remember,
even before San Bernardino.
Yeah.
So I've been on stages for a long time. I was dancing, singing, did a little rapping, started teaching, drums, saxophone for a little bit in elementary, back to more drums in middle school, high school. Like, I've been on stages. And so I've always enjoyed that. But it wasn't until after I started like speaking to church when I realized, hey, the things that I'm saying is actually changing how somebody lives their life. Like, your entire perception of whatever the situation is about to shift. And as a result, your life is about to shift. And I thought that was amazing. I think the weight of that is amazing. And then when people come back to you and they're like, yo, I thank you so much for what you said. Like, I was in tears back there. Or now I know what I have to do. Like, I got testimonials from folks like, because of what Miles said, I know what I have to do now. And that stuff is amazing, right? Yeah. So I think it will actually come from what you're already gravitated to. So for me, part of that was just being on stage. And I learned how to be good on stage because I was constantly on the stage. What people don't know, like you mentioned dancing, I didn't always want to dance. Like, I started off dancing. It was fun. I made up a lot of dances that we did in my room when I was supposed to be cleaning up. Instead, I'm listening to music. I'm not. I'm just saying. I didn't say you did it. You weren't there. Nothing. I'm just saying a lot of the ones that I did. You feel me? It was just me by myself. And at some point, I kind of was like, I don't want to do this no more. I didn't like practice. I was annoyed with XYZ. I remember one time my dad asked, like, you don't want to dance no more? I said,
No.
He was like, well, you gonna finish this practice and you dancing, right? And like, we were dancing a lot. Yeah. You know, some people know, some people don't. We were dancing a lot. Like, we got out of school to go perform somewhere, right? But being on the stage as a speaker, that's totally, I can't see myself getting tired of that. Because that would be me getting tired of seeing positive change. And I don't understand how that could be the case.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
To get more into your question, like, how do you follow that? You have to be willing to continuously learn. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. So what people don't know is that over this last year, I've spent more money on investing in me, on mentors, on courses, on masterminds, on going to events and networking and stuff than I ever have. It's like thousands of dollars. That's all I'll say. I spent thousands of dollars on this stuff so that I can not only be good at my craft, but also so that I can have the connection necessary so I could learn the nuances. There's a lot of nuance in business that people won't tell you about, right? Yeah. So I can tell you, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. That's great. But you'll never know the nuance of doing those three things. Exactly. And because you don't know the nuance, you'll never have the success necessary. So I'll give you one way that this was beneficial to me. This guy, Dontel Antonio, and I gotta give him a few $1,000s, right? Anyways, he created a mastermind year-long program called Content Mastery X, where we just focus on making content and things that bring benefit to your business. Best way I can say it. So it wasn't only on content. That's like the lead, but it was all the things that bring profit to your business. Yeah, year-long thing. He had an event in Atlanta. I went to that event. Met a guy named Ramaya Trask. Ramaya builds websites. His business is Be Freaking Amazing, right? So he does other stuff too, but that's the main thing. Ramaya moved to Dallas. This is why you have to get to know people, okay? Yeah. I connected with Ramaya in Atlanta. Ramaya never heard me speak. Ramaya's never seen me speak in person, but he knows people that have, right? Because when me and Ramaya met in Atlanta, it was just a cool exchange. Kept up with him online. He came to Dallas, right? He goes to an event. He's like, hey, bro, I'm speaking at this event. If you can, come through. Gave me a promo code for a free ticket. Now, tickets to the event was like $260, right? So I appreciate the free promo code. You feel me? Yeah. I show up. As soon as I see him, he's like, hey, y'all need to meet each other. As soon as I get there, he connects me with a lady who's like, yeah, I'm doing this event. Have you ever hosted before? Because I need a host of this event I'm going to do. There's going to be like 700 people there. Immediately, I get the opportunity to host an event because I knew Ramaya. And then she just contacted me recently and was like, yo, your class where you teach people how to speak, because she saw a piece of content that I posted about one of my students getting their first paid speaking engagement. So create your content, put it out there. I put this content out a while ago. She just liked it like yesterday, okay? Anyways, she saw that, hit the like button, text me. It's like, so what's this program that you got? And we've been texting up until a few hours ago. She was like, okay, I just need to know exactly what it costs because I need what you have.
So that's what's at it.
Yeah. That's I need what you have. Great. So now, I don't have a single thing that costs less than $1,000.
Bless the Lord. Yeah. Send the customers.
Right? Yeah. So just being cool with Ramaya brought me a speaking engagement. Remember, I don't do nothing for less than $1,000, and speaking always costs more than that. And then I also got from the same lady, I'm getting a new client. And that's just one person he introduced me to. He introduced me to a few other people there. So you got to be willing to invest in yourself, because I didn't get there without investing in Dontel's program, right? You got to be willing to travel, educate, and just be good to people. When you do that continuously and stay dedicated, which is the hardest part, honestly. I feel like I'm talking for a long time. But that's the hardest part, to stay dedicated to the thing that you're doing and get, as Dontel would say, laser focused, right? And what I mean by that is my website, milesbrownonline.com, shameless plug. It used to show things that I'm also associated with, like the credit repair business, right? That's not my business, but I will help in that business. So it said speaker, minister, entrepreneur. It mentioned credit. It mentioned some other stuff. financial services. My dad's a financial services company that I will, and I don't care how much money I make, how successful I am, I will help my father with whatever he has going for it. So like that stuff is on my website, and he's like, Miles, if someone comes here looking for a motivational speaker, you think they're going to feel confident in you? I'm like, why not? I'm good at what I do. He said, you are good. I heard you. But if they come to your site, you're too wide. They need to see that you are focused on being the speaker that you say you are. So you got to get that other stuff off. And that was difficult for me because I'm like, dang, it don't show. If someone comes, they don't see none of the stuff. No, they don't, because you want to be great at this one thing. You want to follow your passion. You got to let your passion be the passion. That one. And when you laser focus on that, then you grow to all the other stuff. But you got to get down to that one thing. So that's what I would say. Find your passion and laser focus on that, and then stay consistent with that one thing.
One thing I would add to that about your passion or whatever is like, if you have an inclination about what your passion is, I would spend time with people that do that. I think that'll feed it as well. Or and if you don't know people personally, like the internet's a wonderful resource. Like find somebody on YouTube that does it, or something like that. Because my passion is to be a serial entrepreneur, and there's this guy, Investment Joy, and like dude is like in Ohio from like a small town. And he's got like all these different businesses that he started, like small businesses that he started. Anybody could start, and now he owns like trailer parks and all that stuff. Like he built up to it. But like seeing that kind of stuff, it inspires me as well. So I would say just get around.
And don't be afraid to invest. I know it's talking for a minute, but this is one that people miss all the time. It takes money to make money. So your network is your net worth. So you got to do things that put you around people that make money, that are doing the things that you want, so you can have the same. And then you can't be afraid to say, man, this is a $2,000 course. Because having that information and having access to the people that can create that information, those are the keys to get you where you want.
Oh yeah, like I've invested in plenty of things. I'm gonna let y'all talk. Like, have you ever invested in anything? You just said like a course. Like, how much you spend on a course?
The most I spent on a course, I think, is $6,000.
$6,000
for a single course.
That's a lot.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to music stuff, I mean, just in equipment and things of that nature, but also just connecting with certain people. Being able to, travel out of the state to go be a part of writers camps or things of that nature, and then being invited out. And so that part is, that's well, of course, they flew me out, so that I didn't have to really invest too much in there, but I would have been willing to for the opportunity. But
you gotta invest in yourself. I started with when I was in college, and I would get my little Pell Grant. I was like, let me go buy this microphone, let me go buy this recording software.
Absolutely.
Like that's how it started. But I've invested as well. But I got one investment I want to tell y'all about where I got burnt on an investment. Like I went in with someone I completely trust, and he ain't the person that burnt me, but we invested in a flip, at a house flip, and he was like, if you got $4,000, you can get in on this, right? Which $4,000 ain't nothing for a house flip, but he was just opening the door for me to get in, and we never saw a dime of that $4,000 ever again. So I just say that to say, sometimes when you invest, it don't always turn out positive, but it showed that individual that I am committed, and what I've gotten from that individual in return has literally changed my life, and they showed me how to day trade, and put me on a trajectory to where I'm like, all right, I ain't going back to work no more, so
that's awesome.
Don't be afraid to invest, but
man, I think when it comes to a lot of our people, when I say our people, like African Americans, especially coming where we come from, a lot of what we do with finances and stuff like that is doing.
It's survival mode.
Yeah, like we gotta I can't, because a lot of us in our demographic and places that we're from, like most people live paycheck to paycheck, and it's difficult to say I'm gonna go invest in myself when there's a lot of risk factor that's there. But what I will always add to people, and this is what I've learned over the last 2 years myself, is, you know, with no risk, there's no reward. I think even whenever you're going out for something, anything, you're running the risk of it may not work out, or you know, you're deducting all these reasons why it could possibly fail. But even in that, you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining a better attitude or a better you know, tool set to, okay, if I approach this again, I know what I'm going to do different now. And so you can't count those things out as just complete failures, although it may have failed, but there's something to learn and to gain from that. And so with, you know, having the mentality like, okay, I'm going to take the right risk. Now, of course, you assess it. You always assess it. You know, you don't want to, you don't want to just go out there and like, okay, I'm going to, you know, let's throw something outlandish out there. I'm going to build a car, you know, and I'm just going to learn. I'm like, okay, you know, you're going to invest your money into building this thing, but like, that's not where you're at right now. So we need to just draw it back. The goal can still be that. But let's just do the first set into like, oh, okay, investing in the right school or gaining the right knowledge. And so sometimes if it seems overwhelming, you know, scale it back a little bit. See where you can fill in the first box and then begin to build upon those building blocks. And then you'll be able to go forward with more confidence. And so I think that's what I'm trying to learn. That's what I'm learning this year. Really last year and then this year is about how I'm assessing the risk that I'm going to take this year and how I'm going to approach like putting myself in these situations in order to gain this opportunity.
Yeah, like now I do love investing, and as we said, you know, we have our hands in a couple different businesses. I would tell somebody first off, like, never invest more than you can afford to lose. So like if you can't afford to lose it, don't invest it. So like before you start a business, you may need a second job so you can afford to start the business, because you can't invest something and be like, I need that. Like, and then if you need it, then you're operating in stress, so you don't have the freedom to operate and do the business because you're stressed out about making a return. Like when you launch a business, you need to be able to launch it and for 6 months not make a return on that business. So get a second job before you start a business probably is something I would suggest to people, you know, if you're having a hard time saving up for it. But like one of my biggest investments, I don't have no super big investments or anything, but like I took like $7,000 and bought a car, and I rented the car out, and then that car generated like $1,000 a month, you know, on what's that thing called? What's that app? Hire Car.
Oh no,
yeah, use Hire Car. Yeah. Right, and then it got into an accident. They totaled it out, and they gave me like $7,000, and then we sold what was left. So I'm just saying, like, there are investments that work really good for you. Just take the time. But the way I found it, because I was on YouTube and I was just Googling like what's the way to make money. And this guy was like, you know, worst case scenario, you just bought a car and you can sell it. You might lose. I mean, you don't lose a little bit reselling the car, but that's it. And I was like, yeah. So saved up, got some money,
the worst
bought a car.
Case scenario.
Yeah.
For me, so my biggest investment wasn't that $6,000. My biggest investment was over $10,000.
Good Google it. Let me hold some.
Like, and there's no guarantee of return. That right there is literally investing in yourself. I invested just to learn. I invested in community. I invested in being able to pick someone's brain who's made millions. That's what that investment was. And so there's no guarantee of return in that. And that was scary for me because I did not have that money to invest. Super scary.
See, that's why you should listen to me before you did that.
Yeah, so and I would tell people like, it's not smart to burn the ships, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's what I did.
Yeah,
I'm gonna burn it. Like whatever happens, I know for a fact I got this job, already have a house, so I'm gonna just go all in and say whatever happens. I'll figure it out moving forward. I don't suggest that to people unless you have the mindset that I have right now, which is I'm going to make it happen. And if you have that mindset, then you can overcome what would normally be a stupid investment.
But you don't have no kids or nothing, so
I don't have kids.
And
that's another reason why I did it. So I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. So my number one concern is do I have a place to stay? Well, I do have a place to stay no matter what. So I was like, forget it. Let's commit to it. Like it's rough. I don't really have it. I don't know what's going to happen next month or the month after next, a year from now. Like, I don't have a clue. So I wouldn't suggest people do that.
Yeah.
But I would suggest that you be willing, like you be open to that idea. If your mind is shut off to that, then you'll never reach the levels that you want to reach. Because from what I've learned, all the people that you know that are making ridiculous amounts of money, they all spend ridiculous amounts of money on just being in certain circles, just getting in certain rooms, being educated by certain people. Exactly. Like the money that some people spend just to say, hey, I was around this person, this person, this person at this event. You're like, yo, that's a 5-figure check. Being at that event isn't that important. But yes, it is. Because just for the sake of example, that one time I spoke in Atlanta and I met Ramaya has a massive return. But what people don't know is that at one time I spoke in Atlanta, I also made thousands of dollars that day from people seeing me on stage and saying, I want what he has. Right? So that investment starts paying off. But boy, is it scary. And because I know it's scary, that's what I'm telling folks. Don't have the mindset that I'm never going to do that. Just find a way to be smart about doing it, but never shut off the idea.
Exactly. Yeah. I will add something real small to that is whenever you do have if you're blessed to have a support system or people that can aid you every time, especially if you're young and you're getting ready to really get into some things as far as passions that you want to seek out for, take advantage of that time. I mean, I know there's plenty of other things that you can do, especially being young. You're like, oh, I can go out, friends, do all these kind of things. Great. There's always going to be time for that. And it's good to make and plan and make time for that because it's good to build relationships, have friendships and stuff and support systems outside of, immediate family. But if you have the opportunity to where, you don't have any kids yet, you don't have a lot of other obligations, and you're able to get laser focused on something and begin to build it now, do what you can to do it now. Because no greater time, because it gets a little bit tougher, when you're married, you have your place, you have maybe kids on the way, things of that nature. It's, decisions are you got to be even more strategic, and certain things can't lack and can't go without at that point in time. So you have to assess your risk a lot better in those times. But when you're younger, and you have the opportunity and you're blessed to maybe have family or friends that are able to aid you, take advantage of that time much you can. I would stress that to you majorly. I would definitely say for myself, I could have definitely did with a lot more focus in those earlier years before I got married and things of that nature to get me, to at a better baseline. But I believe everybody has their own walk and their own, path that they have to take in order to learn. But it could even be for me to this day to be able to say, hey, I didn't do that, but I know the residuals and I know what can come from by doing that earlier on. So take advantage of that, guys. Do it. For sure.
Absolutely. So one last question. What's the time like down there?
That's 105 right there. But that started first though, right?
Yeah, started first. One last question. What's the next thing you guys think you want to get into or just increase?
Well, I'm writing a book right now, and that's my next thing.
It's breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I just found this out.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Right now.
Mom and Daddy read the introduction already, so I'm writing a book.
Any like hints?
Yeah,
as to what it is?
Oh yeah, it's a book on it's a theology book. I don't know how to say it, but.
Okay.
I don't want to give away the whole book right now, but
cool.
Yeah, it's about the Bible, It's my only one true passion in this whole planet, God. So that's what's next for me. Writing that book, finishing it, and then finding a way to market it and get it in the hands of other people. I really as we were speaking earlier today, I really think God blessed me with a gift to study the Bible, and then in turn, he's blessed me with a gift to communicate what I've studied. So I really want to share what I've been studying, and I just think a book would be a great way to go about it. So that's what's next for me, and I expect both of you to get a copy as soon as it's finished.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah. I'll put my down payment down now. Tell me the price. Let me know.
For real.
I would say for me, I do want to start a business this year. Now, of course, exactly what that is, it's between two things. But that's mainly just to draw some more income. As far as passion goes, of course, I'm always writing consistently when it comes to music. I feel like I communicate better through music than I do with anything else. And so knowing that more so and being more confident in that, I've been consistently working out. Of course, those who follow me on social media, like, I haven't really posted much in a while, but I've written more stuff in this time than I probably ever wrote in my life as far as like just writing. So just stay tuned. A lot of things are coming in there. Hopefully God, still produces the same opportunities. We'll see something real soon, but always working on that. But yeah, so pray for me in my business endeavors though. Me and my wife, we want to open up something.
Yeah, you got it. And let us know if we can help.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure. Because there's a lot of stuff in business that no one told us. Like when he was figuring out what credit card processors to use, and it was like, these people are taking this and all. I was like, yo. Everybody told us to accept payments. Nobody told us how much it costs to be able to accept payments.
And when you got a credit repair company, you can't use like Square or PayPal because they consider you too risky. And so oh gosh, it was a lot. It was a whole process.
But with that being said, the things that I'm working on, it's all centered around my business. It's helping more people learn to speak, to be good on stage, and then I'll be moving into like how do you get paid to speak. I'm working on that. Eventually I want to have an entire agency, so it's like only thing you'll have to do is give us the money and learn your speeches, your presentations, and we'll do everything else for you.
We'll get you booked.
You'll get booked, you'll get paid. All you gotta do is be willing to speak, right? That's what I'm working towards.
I like that.
And then I just put out How Pastors Are Made. I'll be working on that.
Amazing.
Great video.
Amazing. Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'll be honest. I turned it on and I was like, I'll probably listen to like a little bit of it, while I was at work, and I was just like, I'm about to listen to this whole thing. I had it in my ear the whole time. It was really good. I really liked it. That was awesome. Yeah. So everybody go check that out. For sure.
I'm working on that. How Pastors Are Made on YouTube.
You should throw that link in the description.
I'll do that.
Yeah, put that link in the description.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, 3 good guys, Miles, Rodney, Leonard, having an amazing time, about to get some grub, and we hope you guys absolutely enjoy your week. Yes. Enjoy this day, whatever day it is that you're watching this, enjoy it. And with that being said, we out of here.
We out of here. Thank you. Bye.
Hit that stop button.
Good job, guys.
Do.
Oh, hold on, I pressed the wrong button.